Today we are going to learn about the keyword called this. We are going to learn about a keyword called this keyword. Can anyone say that in the previous class which keyword we have learned? We have learned about the static keyword. Today we are going to learn about the this keyword. Do anyone have an idea for what purpose we are going to use the keyword called this? Do anyone have an idea for what purpose we are going to use a keyword called this? Why we are going to use a keyword called this in the sense to use a current class instance variables. If you want to access instance class variables or instance variables from one location to another one location, at that time we are going to use this keyword. Okay. But for what reason we are going to making use of this keyword in the sense to use current class instance variables. To use current class instance variables, we are going to use a keyword called this. Okay. Now I'm going to write one program. You have to give me the output for this program. Like example, there is a keyword, a class called this keyword. For here, we have a variables called int id and string called name. There are two variables, one is id, another one is string. Okay, now I'm going to use one constructor which is known as this keyword public.
The voice is breaking.
Okay, fine. I'll cross verify. Give me 1 minute. Now whether my voice is clearly audible for you people?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now I'm going to create a constructor, this keyword. And this constructor are going to have two parameters. One is integer, another one type is called string. Int id, comma, string name. Now I have to initialize id to this id. Id is equal to id, comma, name is equal to name. I have initialized the parameter values to this class variables. Now I'm going to have one method which is known as display. So public void display, public void display system dot out dot println. I'll write it id plus name, and I'll give semicolon. That's it. In this class, this keyword class, I have one constructor and one display method. Now I'm going to create a tester class. New class tester for this keyword. Now I'm going to include public static void main. Finish. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create an object here for class called this keyword. This keyword pk is a reference variable is equal to new this keyword, and I'll pass 10 comma Ramu. 10 comma Ramu I'll pass as the variables. Now through this TK, I'm going to call display method. I'm going to call display method. Okay. Now, whether the program is correct? Yes, whether program is correct? Yes or no? Yes, correct. THISKEYW. Yes, it's correct. Okay, now say me, what is your output of this class? Like once I have created an object, one object is going to be get generated. In that object, one two variables are going to be get allocated. One is for integer, another one is for string. Once this object is created, it will go to the constructor which is called as this keyword constructor. Now it will jump into this class and it will execute this. Now whatever I have here, id is equal to 10. I have id is equal to 10. I have, and name is equal to Ramu I have represented. Now you say me, what will be your output when I call display method? What is your output? I want responses from all the students. If you're sitting blindly, I'm not going to accept it. Say me, what will be your output? When I execute this keyword, what will be your output? When I execute this keyword? Yes. What will be your output when I execute tk.display?
Ten Ramu.
10 Ramu. Are you sure this will be your output?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. My answer is it won't display 10 and Ramu. It will be displayed as a 0 and something null. Okay, I'll be running the output. Now you can check it out. 0 and null. Do anyone have an idea for what reason we have displayed this output 0 and null? We got an output which is called as 0 and null. 0 for ID representing, null is representing for Ramu. For what reason we got an output like the 0 and null? Why? It is correct. The program is correct. We have passed two parameters. One is ID, another one string. The constructor parameters are matching, values are correct, and it is assigning, even though we are not getting output. Do anyone have an idea for what reason we are not getting an output?
So it's because the variable is reassigning itself in the constructor call. We have to use this keyword in order to assign it to the global variable.
Yes. See, the variables which have declared here, it has matching with the instance variables along with the local variables. At that time, there will be an ambiguity that which variable value to be assigned for what. Okay. So at that time, we are going to have an ambiguity here. To avoid this ambiguity, we are going to use a keyword called this dot and this dot name. Understood? this dot ID is equal to ID, this dot name is equal to name. At that time, when I represent this dot name, where this dot name will be represent to the current class variables. Current class variables in the sense the variables which are presented in the this keyword class, it will be represented to this. When here you can check it out, there is a normally name. This name will be referred to as parameterized name. Okay, for any method, if you passed a parameter, that variable will be matching this. When you use this dot, at that time it will be going to make use of current class variables. Current class variables. So when I represent this dot name, it will be accepted as for instance variables. Now, can anyone say me what will be our output? Now, can anyone say me what will be our output? Our earlier output is 0 or null. Now, say me what will be our output? Yes. Our output will be 10 and Ramu. You can check it out. Our output will be 10 and Ramu. Why? Because now the ambiguity is erased. We have used this dot in the sense it is clearly identifying that you assign the parameterized ID variable or value to the current class ID. In the sense for this variable, you can assign whatever you brought in the constructor 10. And for this name, you can assign Ramu. It is specifying. Is it clear for everyone how to make use of this keyword? Students, I'm asking for you people whether it is clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do anyone have a doubts? Okay. Now I'm moving to the one simple concept which is known as inner classes. Inner classes is nothing but class within a class. We are going to call it as an inner classes or nested classes we will call. Okay. Class within the class we are going to call it as an inner classes or nested classes. Okay. Now I'll create one class which is known as outer. Outer. I'll finish. Now I have created one class. Now what I have to do, a class within a class, we are going to call it as an inner classes. So now I'm going to create one class within this outer class. What I'll create? Class inner. This is what? This is your outer class. Within that class, I have created one class. This is a concept which you're going to call it as a nested class. Now here what I'm going to do, within the outer class, I'm going to create one method which is called as display. Public void display. Okay, public void display. Under this, I can write anything, but for your purpose, I'll keep it as a temporary. I mean, I'll not write anything. First, I'll come up with your inner classes. In the inner class, I'll create one method which is known as show. Public void show. Open and close. That's it. Public void show. Within the inner class, we have one method which is known as show. Here, I'll write it some statement, simple statement, system.out.println. Inside the inner class. Inside the inner class. That's it. Now, what I'm going to write it in display method, I'm going to write or I'm going to create an object of inner class. So inner in is equal to nif inner, open and close parenthesis, in dot show, in dot show method. That's it. So what is going to be happen here in the sense? First, one outer class object is going to be get created. Under this, display and inner is going to be get created. Now, if I want to access inner, just I have to create outer object and I can access display method. Then automatically inner class also is going to be get executed. I'll show. Tester class, I'm going to create class tester outer. Public static void main, finish it off. Now, done. Now here what I'm going to do, if I want to access inner class method, show, we have to create object for outer class. O is equal to new outer, open and close parenthesis. So O dot display method, that's it. Okay, O dot display method. What is going to be happen here? First, outer object is going to be get created and O dot display. Now I'll move to the outer class. It will enter into the outer class. It will check where is an display method within the outer class. So now it will enter into this and it will now it is created another one object which is called as inner object. For this inner object, through that inner object, again I'm going to call in.show. Using that in.show, object is created already inner. Again, it will jump into that inner and it will check where is the show method. Now it will jump to the class called inner. Once it is jumped to the inner class, it will check where is my show method. Once it is found that show method, it will jump into this and it will start executing of your inside the inner class method. Now we will see this execution. Now you can see inside the inner class. So you can check it out in the outer class. I have another one class called inner. In that inner class, I have one method which is known as show method. In that show method, I have written simple statement. How to access? It is very simple. Using for display method, we can create one object. In that object, we can call this display method and we can execute it. It is just a simple concept for you. Just I have explained this. Okay. Now, new class, create one class which is known as directly test GC. Okay. Do anyone have an idea what do you mean by garbage collection? Do anyone have an idea what do you mean by garbage collection? What do you mean by garbage collection? See, garbage collection is nothing but when we want to release a memory. When we want to release memory, at that time we are going to use garbage collection. Okay, the memory destruction will be done automatically by JVM. But sometimes when there is no reference for that particular object, but for that object we have to release the memory. At that time we are going to use a concept called garbage collection. Garbage collection is used for destruction of memory. Garbage collection is used for destruction of memory. Okay, what type of memory for which destruction? In the sense when we don't have an reference for an object. When there is no reference for object, at that time we are going to call GC. But when we have an object, when we have an references for everything, JVM will take care for cleaning of your memory. Okay. Second thing, can we forcefully do the garbage collection? Can we forcefully do the garbage collection? Do anyone have an answers? Can we forcefully do the garbage collection? Can we destruct the memory forcefully? Yes or no? I need answers whether we can do or not. Yes or no? Students, I'm posing a question for you people. I need answer. Can we forcefully destruct the memory using a garbage collection? The answer is no. Okay. Why the answer is no in the sense, complete the garbage collection taken care of by JVM. JVM is going to take care of destruction of memory. But one thing we can do, we can request the JVM to clean up the memory. Okay. One thing we can do is we can request for JVM to clean up the memory. Again, once we request, it is not necessary from the JVM side to do the cleanup. Again, it left to the JVM whether it will do or not. If it is interested to work on the garbage collection to destruct the memory, it will do. If not, it won't do. Okay, make sure that in the garbage collection, why we are going to use to destruct the memory. When we can use a destruction of memory, when there is no any reference for the object, at that time we can go for the destruction of memory explicitly. But JVM will be destroying the memory time to time. Next question is, can we forcefully do the destruction of memory? The answer is no. Why? Because it is going to be taken care by the JVM. Again, there is an option that yes, we can request for the JVM to clean up the memory. Once we request, the answer is yes or no. The answer is no. Again, it left to the JVM whether it has to do or not. But it's your thing, just you can request for the JVM to clean up the memory. JVM will take care about the decision whether to clean up or not the memory. Now for that, I'll show one simple program how to write destruction of memory. So what I'll do here, I'll create the same class object test t is equal to new test gc, it is test gc test gc. Now what I'm going to do, I'll just assign a null. Just a simple program for your understanding. System.gc. You can check it out. There is a garbage collection method in the systems class. You now have called. When you've done this, we have to write one method which is known as finalize method. Public void finalize. Public void finalize. Once I have written this, just I'll write it system.out.println. I'll just write garbage collection. Garbage collection. Okay, we can check it out here. When this function is working, system.gc. Before system.gc finalized, you are going to get call. Why? Because sometimes there might be closing some of the permissions compulsorily. At that time, you can put it into the finalize and you can work it. Before calling the GC, it will call the finalize and then GC will be called. Now I'll save the code and I'll run. No, GC, it is not performed. It's left to the JVM whether to take up the memory cleaning or not. It's left to the JVM. Before calling the GC, it will call finalize and then it will call for GC. Suppose if it is called GC, then your output will be garbage collection and then it is going to be get printed. No, it's not calling, but sometimes if it is taken into consideration, your output will be garbage collection. This is how we can do your garbage collection using system.gc. Using system.gc, we can clear up the memory. Students, is it clear for everyone how to call garbage collection method? Kaushik,
Yes, sir.
have you understood the concept how to call GC?
Yes, sir.
Okay, have you understood the concept using of this keyword?
Yes, sir.
Prakruti,
Yes, sir.
have you understood the concepts called this and garbage collection?
Yes, sir.
Nidishwar,
Yes, sir.
have you understood the concepts called GC and GC and this keyword?
Yes, sir.
Kartikeya,
Yes, sir.
Chandana,
Yes, sir.
Trupti,
Yes, sir.
Suman,
Yes, sir.
have you understood the concept of using this keyword and how to do the garbage collection?
Yes, sir.
Parshit Raj,
Understood, sir.
okay, fine.
Sir, you're not audible.
Okay. Inheritance is nothing but just acquiring the properties from base class to the derived class. Okay. Suppose you have one mother and one child. For mother, we have features called left hand writing and bold speaking. Boldly, everything she can speak. She won't hesitate to say this is wrong or this is right. She'll speak whatever she wants. And if she get it in her mind. Okay. The child have the same features. Along with these features, along with these two features, here going to write with the left hand writing. Second, along with the left hand, he can make use of right hand writing. 3, bold speaking. Before bold speaking, he will think. He will think. Understood? We have one parent and one child. Parent have two features. One is left hand writing, another one is bold speaking. The same two features has been inherited to the child. Along with these two features, child is going to have some other features apart from what mother have. Okay. Sometimes this parent we are going to call it as an general class. Parent we are going to call it as a general class. Why? Because it is an generalized class. Like example, what all the common features are being generated to the derived classes, all these things will put it into the general class. Like example, we have 1 plus phone. Okay, we have 1 plus phone. From 1 plus 1 to till 1 plus 9. What all the common features we have, we'll put it into the one class. And what are the features we have added to the 1 plus 3, 1 plus 5, 1 plus 5t, 1 plus 6. We are going to create the classes for that. Is it clear for everyone? For that, we are going to call it as general class. For derived class, we are going to call it as in specialized classes. Like, what I can do, what I can say, class 1 plus general. Here I have Android 1 or Android, I can say that 5. Don't want. We'll say that here it is in 2.0. Okay, we have camera. Here we have Android camera and height and width. The same way here we have class 1 plus 1. Can anyone say, sorry, 1 plus 3 I'll say. Here we have 1 plus 3. 1 plus 3. Do anyone have an idea? What is the difference between 1 plus 1 to 1 plus 3? What is the differences between 1 plus 1 to 1 plus 3?
Processor.
Processor we can add. Okay.
Display size.
Display. Next, some of the features like thumb scanning, all those things. Okay. See, when we have any different features of the one generations that we can add to the derived classes, When it is common for all the classes, that we can put all those common features, we can put into the one class. Okay, for that we are going to call it as common class, we are going to call it as a general class. One which is different from one class to the another classes, for that we are going to call it as in specialized classes. Next, types of inheritance. One is single level inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, multiple inheritance. Another one is hybrid Another one we have, which is known as hybrid inheritance. Okay, single level inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, multiple inheritance, hybrid inheritance. These are the different types of inheritances we have. Today, in today's class, we are going to learn only one level of inheritance, which is called as single level inheritance. Single level inheritance. What do you mean by single level inheritance? Can anyone explain, or can anyone give a definition? What do you mean by single level inheritance?
There's one parent and one child class.
Yes, exactly. Single level inheritance is nothing but where we are going to have only one class and one child. Sorry, one parent and one child. This we are going to have a parent class and child class. Whatever the features we have in the parent class, that can be extracted by the child class along with its own features. Along with its own features. Okay, now how to give a connection between the parent and child? If I want to extract parent class methods to the child class, there should be a connection between these two. How should I give a connection between these two classes?
Extend keyword, sir.
Yes, using a keyword called extends, we are going to give a connection between these two classes. Understood? I have a parent class, I have a child class. Now I have to extract the methods which are present in the parent class. How to extract? First, if I want to extract, you should have a relationship. If you want to have a relationship, how to create it? Using a keyword called extends, you can create a relationship between your parent class and child class. Like example, I'll give another one example. Suppose in your home, you have a grinder. In your home, you have a grinder, which is called home hay. Another one, home we have. In this home, we don't have a grinder. I want to give a grinder for this home. At least you should have some relationship between these two homes. Then only you can share your grinder to your class called B. Yes or no? Without knowing anyone, can you share your things? Without having any relationship for the another one, can you give your things to the another person? Yes or no? Yes or no? Okay. We should have a relationship between two classes, then only we can extract, or then only we can share our things. How we should have a relationship? in the programming language, in the sense using of your extends keyword, we can create a relationship between two classes. Okay. Now, how to create a relationship in the sense, I'll give an example. Class animal. Class animal. Class dog. Okay, I have a class called animal. I have a class called dog. Now I have to create a relationship between these two classes. How to create? In the sense, using of your extend keyword. Give me 1 minute. Okay, we have a class animal. Class dog. How to create a relationship between these two in the sense using a keyword called extends. Extends. And from which class you have to extract that class name you have to write. Okay, this is your child class and this should be your parent class. Make sure that from the right side you should have a parent class. At the left side you should have a child class. In between these two classes you should have extends class. Okay, this is the word syntax when you want to extract any method or variables from one class to the another class. Okay. Now we'll move to the programming part. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll create one file, new project. I'll create it as a Java project, which is of inheritances. I'll create a finish. Now you can check it out. Here we have an inheritances. I'll create one file which is called class animal. Okay, I'll create one class which is known as animal. What animals can do? What the animals can do? Whether animals can eat food? Yes or no? Yes or no? See, generalized thing, animal. Under the animals, we have a dog, lion, duck. All these things will come into your animals. So first I'll generalize the class animal. All the animals can have food. So what I'll do, I'll create a method which is called as public void eat. Okay, I'll write it system.out.println. All animals will have food. Done. Now, public void sleep. All animals will sleep. So what I'll do, I'll write system.out.println All animals, I won't write it. Animal, I mean, I'll specify what animal we have. So what I'll write it, string name. That's it. I'll create one constructor, public animal, open and close, name is equal to n. I'll give semicolon here. String n. Whatever the animal name I'll pass, it will be accessible here. What both the animals will have? Here I'll specify name plus. Here also name plus animal will sleep. That's it. This is generalized class where dog will sleep and will eat, lion will eat and will sleep, tiger will eat and will sleep. This is generalized. Now, whereas coming to the specialized classes, when I come to the specialized classes, how dog will roar? I mean, how dog will, what I can say? How it will roar? New class. I'll create another one class which is called as dog class. Here I'll write it. Nothing, just finish. Okay. Now I want to extract the methods which are present in the animal. So I will write it extends animal. Extends animal. Now, obviously, see, in the animal class we have a method constructor. So in the dog class also we should have a constructor. So fine, it is just generalized. We will call it as, okay, or else we will call it as n is equal to, sorry, I'll create one string, name is equal to n. That's it. Here I'll specify name is equal to n. That's it. Okay. What happened? Implicit super constructor. Okay. Very super. Okay, just leave it. I'll explain later. Public void speak. How it will speak? System dot out dot println dog will speak bow bow. That's it. The dog will speak bow bow. Where if I call another one animal, sorry, lion will, how it will speak? It will roar. Same way, I'll create one tester class, new class, which is called tester. I'll create animal, finish. Now you can check it out. I'll create an object for dog. D is equal to new dog. I'll create here, I'll pass it a string called dog. That's it. Now you can check it out. When using the reference variable of D, I can call sleep method. Using the same D reference variable, I can call eat method. Using the dog reference variable, I can call speak method. Okay, you can create an imagination using your extents. I am accessing what all the methods which are present in the animal. Okay, now when I save it, when I run the code, I'm going to get dog animals will sleep, dog animals will have food, dog will sleep, dog will speak bow bow. This is how. Single inheritance in the sense where we are going to have one class and one parent class and one child class. That's it. Is it clear for everyone? Yes, everyone have understood?
Yes, sir.
Do anyone have a doubts?